Welcome back to Winners and Losers, and it's the end of all domestic seasons, I believe, across Europe this weekend. But we start with a team that didn't win the league. It's Tottenham Hotspur, who have been redonkulous for the last two games, Patrick Van Straten.
Yeah, they went away to Leicester City, of course, last season's champions, and they beat them 6-1.
Good game.
Then they went away to already relegated Hull on the final day, and they beat them 7-1.
Wow.
So thank God they don't have a game next week, because that team would be conceding 8. They finished the season having scored the most goals in the league with 86 and conceding the fewest with just 26.
That's ridiculous.
38 games. That is absolutely unbelievable. They also finished with 86 points. By comparison, Leicester won the league last year with 81. Their goal difference of plus 60 is the highest in Premier League history for a non-title winning side. Of course, this is the most points they've ever had at the end of a season, Tottenham. And by the way, they finish above Arsenal for the first time during Arsene Wenger's reign. To put into context how good Spurs were this season, they got the same number of points this year that the Invincibles got back in 2003-2004. How about that?
That is ridiculous. And there's one man to thank. Well, there's not just one man to thank, because this has been a team effort. But there's one man we've got to talk about. It's Harry Kane. Can't stop scoring goals. He's got back-to-back hat-tricks. In fact, he got 4 against Leicester. And he took home the Golden Boot, of course. Before Thursday night, Lukaku was in top spot. By the end of Sunday, Harry Kane was clear and away. He's only the 5th player in Premier League history to win back-to-back Premier League Golden Boots, of course. And he's actually scored 4 hat-tricks this season. There's only been 6 scored in the Premier League, and he's got 4 of them this year. It's ridiculous. Let's not forget as well, he missed 11 weeks of the season through injury, and he's still got 29 goals in just 30 games. He's also got 7 assists. He's hitting 65% of his shots on target. That, for me, is the reason he scores so many goals. He's so accurate with shooting, 31% conversion rate. And for me, I was talking about it on Twitter earlier in the week. Manchester United, a lot of people are going to get on at me with this, but Man United should go out and they should spend whatever Tottenham want on Harry Kane. He is ridiculous. Of course, Antoine Griezmann, a better footballer. You could get better footballers for less money, but you will not find a player who will score as many goals in world football as Harry Kane for Manchester United in the Premier League. He's 23. He's scored 20+ goals in 3 back-to-back seasons. Didier Drogba only did it once or twice in his entire campaign. 23 years old, Premier League ready, striker, meets the English quota. What a signing that would be. I think United should spend whatever he wants.
The only question is going to be his fitness. People are talking about whether he could match Alan Shearer's record of, what is it, 260 Premier League goals. But the thing is, Harry Kane needs another 7 seasons, pretty much, as good as these last 3, to reach Shearer's record. The question is, are his knees going to stand up? Because we look at some of these other players who had a huge number of goals by this age. By 23, Michael Owen had more goals than any other player in Premier League history. I believe he had 102. And after that, he got very, very few. We saw people who went off at a hugely quick rate and then got very few over the rest of their career because knee problems hit, ankle problems hit, overplaying. All these issues came to the fore. But if Harry Kane can stay fit, he genuinely might be the best striker to play in the Premier League since Henry.
It's ridiculous. But what do you think? Should Man United pay the big bucks and sign Harold Kane? Vote in the poll now.
Our first loser this week, Arsenal Football Club. Joe, I know you're going to enjoy this. Go ahead, mate.
Yeah, obviously they won 3-1 on the weekend, but that's not the reason they are in our losers. Because they have finished outside of the top 4 for the first time in 20 years. It was back in 1996 when they finished 5th under Bruce Rioch. What a name. Look, Man United could have been in here as well and probably would have been if not for the Europa League final, because they also finished outside the top 4. In fact, it's the first time that United and Arsenal finished outside the top 4 since 1979. Wow. That is ridiculous. Arsene obviously came out after the game and he said, look, my personal situation has affected the club, which is an interesting claim because it now seems like he has signed a new deal and they're just kind of waiting for it to be announced, because he might well have agreed to having a director of football, which I definitely think Patrick could be happy about. But the fans kind of shifted their anger as well, away from Arsene Wenger on to Stan Kroenke, who this week rejected a $1.3 billion bid to take over the club. Bearing in mind, I think he bought his shares at about £15,000 a share, and he was not willing to sell them at £35,000 a share, which is a lot of money to turn down. But Arsenal fans, Pato, are you happy with that? Is Wenger staying? What's going on?
I don't think that the Wenger thing is necessarily resolved. I think the assumption's been among all the press that it's like done, that he'll sign a new deal. But I'm not sure it is that clean cut. Like if you listen to his interviews, he's been really strange recently. He's either been extremely defensive or he's tried to laugh off questions about his future. And if a deal's done now, there's absolutely no reason to delay announcing it. You might as well announce it now, seriously. Because otherwise, if they lose the final against Chelsea next week, which you would say is like, there's a pretty decent chance that will happen, then it's going to be an even worse time to announce it. So I'm not really sure if it's agreed why you wouldn't go ahead and say it now. Look, Arsenal reached 75 points this season. No side has ever got that many points and not finished in the top 4. That's 4 more than they got last season when they finished second. It's the same as they got in 2014-15 when they finished third.
Really?
So it is a little bit rough. And it's also interesting as well that Liverpool, you know, the perception with Liverpool, for instance, was that they'd had like a really great season, you know, at various points. And that Arsenal had been dreadful all season. It ended up being a 1-point difference, which is quite intriguing, especially when you think that Liverpool didn't have European football. So you see how much of an advantage that's been over the course of the season. I think that the issue this year for Arsenal has been the lack of a functional midfield. You know, Santi Cazorla got injured, but that's not an unpredictable event now. Like, we know he's going to get injured every season. Well, also, he's just been injured again and again and again. It always happens. And Arsenal didn't have a plan for when he went down. And they moved Alexis, who'd been doing really, really well as a centre-forward, back to the wing. It all got a bit more conventional, and the wheels kind of stopped turning. As usual, we had a bad spring. But yesterday also had its bad moments as well. Gabriel, who was having a very good game, he got injured, so he's likely to miss the FA Cup final. Laurent Koscielny got a red card, so he's going to miss that final as well.
Does that mean he misses it?
Yeah.
Oh,
And Shkodran Mustafi is still suffering a concussion after a clash of heads against Sunderland in midweek, so he might miss it too. So it might be young Bobby Holding, the better version of Bobby Moore, who might have to step up for us. Though in fairness, he has been genuinely.
He has been good.
He has been really, really good recently. It'll be interesting to see what happens. In a way, I hope that Arsenal win the FA Cup and that Wenger decides that that's it and that he's going to walk. I think it's probably time for him to go. But I don't know. At the moment, I hate seeing the abuse that he's getting. He's a legend of the club and he doesn't deserve it.
The next winners, it had to be the champions of England, Pato.
Yeah.
Chelsea.
Chelsea beat Sunderland 5-1 on the final day of the season. It was first place versus 20th place, and the result was pretty predictable.
Yes.
To think that Chelsea were close to sacking Antonio Conte back in September is absolutely hilarious. Now they've got the second highest points total in Premier League history, 93 points at the end of the season, with only in the 2004-2005 season, that's Mourinho's first season, have a team taken more points. They got 95 that year, Chelsea. Antonio Conte, they were pretty good at the start of the season. I don't think they were as bad as everyone's kind of pretending they were now, but they obviously got battered by Arsenal, and the 4 at the back wasn't quite working out. Switched to the 3, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I mean, the use of Victor Moses as a right wing-back, Marcos Alonso as a left wing-back. Marcos Alonso wasn't even his first choice of signing, was it? I seem to remember. So he has done brilliantly to get the best out of them. I mean, over the last 2 domestic seasons, obviously he was in charge of Italy in between, but he's been in charge of Chelsea and Juventus. Played 76, won 63, drawn 6. That's the key one. Very rarely draws. It's either a win or a loss for Conte. Lost 7. Goals for 165, goals against 56. I mean, he's taken 195 points out of a possible 228. That is ridiculous. He's taken 30 wins this season. That's a new record for a manager making his debut in the Premier League. And there's one man who stole the limelight yesterday, John Terry.
Jonathan Terry.
In his final game for the club. Obviously, we saw the scenes. 26th minute, a standing ovation, Sunderland kicking the ball out. David Moyes agreed to it. And who arranged it? John Terry went full David Brent and arranged his own surprise birthday party. Oh, you're right, Antonio. If we just stop the game in the 26th minute and substitute me off, can you agree with David Moyes that that's going to happen? And they agreed to it. It happened, and it was madness. He was given a guard of honour off the pitch in the 26th minute. David Moyes was standing up and applauding.
I can't believe Conte agreed to this. This is the man who once said in a changing room argument, you, Gigi, to Gianluigi Buffon.
It's ridiculous. I mean, how much pull does John Terry have at that club? I can't wait to see him putting on a West Brom shirt next year and heading goals in alongside Gareth McCauley. It's absolutely maddening. I mean, no other club in the country lets that happen. Seriously.
And like the 26th minute as well. It's like, oh, because that's the number on the bottom.
I wear number 26. Honestly, look, he's a fantastic player and he has been a legend. He
was a fantastic player.
And he has been a legend of that club. But those scenes are ridiculous. They're lucky the FA aren't intervening, to be honest, because that literally is like game tampering. they've agreed pre-game that you're going to kick the ball off at a certain moment. That is the definition of game tampering. So they're lucky the FA are going to let him off with it. Completely classless, but a great player, and what send-off to win a Premier League title on your final game at Stamford Bridge.
Our next losers are Barcelona. Oh, dearie me. Joe, tell me about this.
Yes, they won 4-2 at the Nou Camp against Eibar, of course, coming from 2-0 down, but they're in the losers because Real Madrid lifted the La Liga title, their first since 2012, of course, Barca winning the previous two. And I have to say, there was a moment in this match which really did catch my attention. Jordi Alba, absolutely the worst dive in football history. I'm putting myself out there and saying this. Honestly, it's the worst I've ever seen. The FA are bringing in retrospective action next year for diving. If this was the case in La Liga, he'd have got a 30-game ban. It's honestly, it's awful. There's nobody within 5 yards of him. I can't believe he got a penalty for it. Barca's demise, though, we have to talk a little bit about it. It's come down to 3 points. That's what they've lost the league to. And there were some big losses and some poor losses under Luis Enrique this season. They've lost to Celta Vigo, they lost to Deportivo, and the latter, they've lost to Alaves at the Nou Camp as well. That's a massive loss. They cannot be losing to Alaves at the Nou Camp, especially when they spent 175 million euros in the past 2 seasons. They've struggled to replace Xavi. They've struggled to replace Dani Alves. Players like Arda Turan have come in. He's not been good enough. Paco Alcácer should have scored more goals this season. You're expecting him to score more goals. Lucas Digne, what an odd signing that was. He's been very poor at right back. I'm really not too sure. Even the likes of Andre Gomes, 50 million euros from Valencia. You're expecting more than the output he has given them this season. That's the main reason, in my opinion, they haven't won this season. Because they have spent so poorly, they haven't rejuvenated that team. Real Madrid have just kept ploughing on. The signings, the likes of Morata, who's been very, very strong. Asensio, been very, very strong. Much better than any of the signings Barcelona have made in the last 2 years.
Yeah, Real Madrid both have more strength, I think, in the first team and also on the bench.
100%.
Digne was a very weird signing. I mean, the only one who's really panned out over the last year or so is Umtiti, who looks like he's been an excellent acquisition for the side. But I do feel a little bit sorry for Luis Enrique. I think that he's done a good job at Barcelona. I think they'll struggle to get another manager in who will be as successful as Enrique's been over these last 3 years. This is, of course, his last La Liga match, finished with that 4-2 win. They're actually on an 11-game winning streak at home in La Liga. That's their best run under one manager since 2013 under Tito Villanova. Now, as you said, they did lose to Alaves in the league, and they've got to face them again in the Copa del Rey final. So they still could end the season with some silverware. And there's one man who, of course, always picks up a trophy or two. That's Lionel Messi. He was the top scorer in the Spanish league. He won the Pichichi trophy, so he got 37 goals. The second highest scorer, Luis Suarez, who got 29. In fact, Lionel Messi has really enjoyed playing under Lucho. He's got 105 goals in 105 games under Luis Enrique. And since Enrique's taken over at Barca, he's won 2 league titles, a Champions League, a Super Cup, and a Club World Cup. I mean, it really is an outstanding record for a guy who the fans think is rubbish.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what he does next. I think he's going to take a year out first, like Pep Guardiola. And it looks like Barcelona are going to hire Ernesto Valverde to take over the club. But who do they need to sign in the summer to ensure that they win the title again or return to Champions League glory? Let us know what you think in the comments below.
Our final winner of the day then is breaking my heart. It's Liverpool, who snuck into the top 4, Pato.
Yeah, they beat Middlesbrough 3-0 on the last day to secure that 4th place trophy. Of course, now they were under pressure the last week and they came through in the clutch. They, of course, beat West Ham. I believe that was 4-1. Then they won this game 3-0. They were a little bit nervy early on, and of course, you could argue they should have given away a penalty. Patrick Bamford went down under a heavy challenge, I believe, from Dejan Lovren, who is a little bit dodgy still. Middlesbrough are now one of 3 teams to visit Anfield on 10 or more occasions in the Premier League, never having won a game. Sunderland have been there 16 times and haven't won. Middlesbrough 15, and Bolton 13.
16 Sunderland, that's disgusting.
Now, once they went ahead in this game, Liverpool found it pretty much plain sailing.
Yeah.
They had 75% possession, they had 25 shots, they had 10 on target. But this is only the second time in 8 seasons that they've got into the top 4. The other time, of course, they had Luis Suarez.
Yes.
But Gini Wijnaldum, we're gonna highlight him a little bit. Yeah. A Dutchman. Very proud of him. All 17 of his Premier League goals, these are between his time at Newcastle and at Liverpool, have been scored in home games.
That's ridiculous.
6 at Anfield and 11 at St James's Park. He does not like it on the road. He loves the big games as well this season. Against Arsenal, a goal and an assist. Against Tottenham, an assist. Man City, a goal. Chelsea, a goal. And Middlesbrough, a goal and an assist. This season, he's got 6 goals and 9 assists. Like, that's a pretty damn good campaign.
Yeah.
Especially seeing as you think of him as an attacking midfielder, but he's actually played in a more central role this year. It's been really, really good, and Klopp has gelled this team finally.
Yeah, finally. It seems that way anyway. Let's just hope he doesn't lose Felipe Coutinho to Barcelona in the summer, because there is still talk of that. Because in this game, he was exceptional. 108 passes at an 86% pass accuracy rate, 8 successful long balls out of the 8 he attempted, 7 dribbles, also at a 100% success rate. Great free kick. He is the master of the free kick in the Premier League, of course. He has scored the most goals from outside the box and the most free kicks in the Premier League this season. He's got 6 from outside the box, and he's scored 3 free kicks as well. Coutinho in all competitions this season has 17 goals and 10 assists. We talk about Dele Alli getting up there and getting big numbers. Those are similarly massive numbers for the Liverpool attacking midfielder. In the Premier League alone, he's been involved in 20 goals. That's 13 goals and 7 assists. And he loves shooting from outside the box. We've talked about it in a negative fashion in the past. He maybe has a few too many pot shots, but this season he seems to have calmed down. He's scored 15 goals from outside the box since his home Premier League debut. Very impressive from the little Brazilian. And I just wonder whether this season could be the season that he joins Barcelona. He's been in great form. Barcelona on the way down. They'll be looking to spend big money in the summer. I think Coutinho could join Barca this summer, Pat. What do you think?
I think you might well be right. Though if I were Barcelona, I'd also be looking at Christian Eriksen after the campaign he's had as well. But it looks like Coutinho would quite like to go. They're obviously going hard in this in Barcelona. He's been on the front of Sport and Mundo Deportivo multiple times in the last few months. But how much would he cost? We want to know, would he be a world record transfer fee? How much would you pay for Felipe Coutinho? Let us know in the comments below. Our final losers of the week, and indeed the season, it's another big club. We've already had Chelsea, we've already had Barcelona. Who is it, you ask? Is it Paris Saint-Germain? Is it Borussia Dortmund? No, it's Watford.
Yes, and literally the only reason we've got Watford in here because we want to talk about Manchester City, but we'd used up all of the winners because Watford's performance on the weekend was a disgrace. Bleep that. Because they were appalling. Honestly, the right back and left back were doing putting at half-time. They're on the golf course already. It was ridiculous. 5-0. They are 4-0 down at half-time to Manchester City. Walter Mazzarri, he was gone. Obviously, the home fans were booing him, chanting, "We didn't like you anyway. You were rubbish." He off. He didn't care about it. Niang came out after the game to say he doesn't even want to stay at Watford. He'd already gone. So, honestly, they chucked the towel in way before. 32% possession in this match. Just the 6 shots, Watford suffered their joint heaviest ever defeat in the Premier League. Obviously, the last one was 5-0 against Wimbledon all the way back in 1999. I've run out of superlatives to describe just how this performance was from Watford. It was an honest disgrace, but let's talk about the actual thing we want to talk about here is Manchester City, who have finished in the top 4 in the Premier League in 7 consecutive seasons now. The longest active streak of any team in the league, Pato.
Yeah, I mean, has any team managed their long-term plan better than Manchester City? They started getting people in years ago, like, you know, got in the director of football, got in the backroom people so they could attract Pep one day, invested a huge amount in youth development, also bought superstars, but also found some guys under the radar like Kompany and Zabaleta who are now on their way out, sadly. It's been incredible. Yes. And now they're starting to reap the benefits of that. They recorded their 12th away league win this season. Their joint most in a single campaign. But the other one wasn't when they won the title in 13-14 or in 11-12. It was all the way back in 2001-2002. 6 of the 11 players that started the match contributed to a goal.
That's a joke. That's how Watford were in this.
That's absolutely nuts. What a team effort. Now, Sergio Aguero became the 5th player to score 20-plus goals in 3 consecutive Premier League seasons. Ooh. To give you an indication of the company he's in here, Harry Kane, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Thierry Henry, and Alan Shearer.
Harry Kane in there again,
That is pretty elite company. He bettered his best ever goal tally with 33 goals in a single season. Obviously, that's in all competitions. Kevin De Bruyne, 18 assists this season. He teed up company and Aguero's first. The only players to have got more assists in a single season. Thierry Henry in 2002-03 when he got 20 assists. He also got 24 goals that season. What a man. Mesut Ozil last season who got 19 assists. They're the only ones who've made more.
Just a little bit.
It's unbelievable. I think Lampard and Fabregas have also done 18, but Kevin De Bruyne, really, really exceptional. Gabriel Jesus now. He's contributed to 11 goals in 8 Premier League starts. He scored 7 of them. He's assisted 4. On the day, he and Aguero between them scored 3 goals, got 2 assists, and completed 8 dribbles.
Watford.
What are you meant to do? What are you meant to do?
I'll tell you what, take your clubs off the pitch, stop playing golf, get your beach towels rolled up and actually put in a performance. What are they doing? They're on margaritas at 35 minutes. It's ridiculous.
They actually would have been better off. If they'd just had this game abandoned, they'd have only lost 3-0. It would have been fine. They should have just not turned up. It would have been great. But Pep Guardiola seems to think that the ceiling for this team is very, very high. After the game, he said that Aguero will stay at City next season. Obviously, there have been rumours about interest in him from all around Europe. And he also said, this is one of the best groups I have coached.
Nice lie,
one of the best.
Nice lie.
No, but what does he mean, one of the best? He's only coached 4 groups, and one of those groups was Barcelona's B team. So what's he talking about?
It's impressive.
Pipe down, Pep. But anyway, Manchester City are starting to get it together, and if they add a couple more stars this summer, they could genuinely be a frightening prospect next season. Ooh. But Watford, you are a frightening prospect now.
Time for some shout-outs now then. You guys have been sending in your suggestions all weekend on Twitter to me and Pato. If you want to be involved in the future, obviously not next weekend, hit us up on these 2 handles. The first one comes from Tom Robertson. He says, Bournemouth for finishing in the top half is huge for a team in League One just a few years ago. Shout out to Josh King for a great season as well.
Yeah.
That is really, really impressive from Eddie Howe. Top half on a very small budget. Greg says the Manchester United youth were the real winners. Harrop's goal was madness, and Gomez being the youngest player since Duncan Edwards at just 16 years old. Honestly, the guy is very, very impressive. In fact, Manchester United had 8 academy players in their starting 11 yesterday, which is ridiculous. Although one of those was Paul Pogba, who we let go and then re-signed. And then Jason Cooper as the final one. Exeter City! Come on, you Grecians. For getting in the final of the playoffs after being bottom of the table, that wasn't right, in November, to now being 1 step closer to League One. I'm going to the final on Sunday. Really? It's going to be buzzing. I'm going to be pitch side. Make sure you catch all of that action over on Soccer AM's Facebook on the day. Pato, who's in the losers?
Well, I've got Philippe René Peroni, who says Wolfsburg, they're of course in the losers. Despite having come second in the league just 2 seasons ago, they now need to win a playoff to stay in the Bundesliga. Mental. Oh, dearie me. Ben White, who says Sunderland for agreeing to kick the ball out of play on 26 minutes. Yes. You're absolutely right. That was a disgrace. Sunderland are a joke. No one cares anymore. And this other one from a young man called Zach Gellard. Ooh. Oh, he's tweeted at you, Joe, and he said, Cleethorpes Town for losing 4-0 to South Shields. What a great shout from young Zach. We'll be sending you a badge with the Football Daily crest on it.
So that's all we've got time for on today's winners and losers. But next you should do what, Patrick?
You should head over to Euro Roundup. Now we're going pure positive this week. We're only going for winners. So you can check out people like Benfica, Dirk Kuyt, and of course some bigger ones as well.
Yes, and as ever, please do like and subscribe to the Football Daily. Bye.